The Dick Show. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's go to college football. Let's start out with the standings because it's still tight. So we're only looking at the part season standings here because Kelly missed the first game of the year.
Because somebody didn't send it to me until after the first fucking week. I got the emails to prove it. Just never mind.
So do I.
Never mind.
So do I. So with the week 2 through 8 factored, Chris is sitting at 98 and 17. I'm at 97 and 18, and Kelly's at 95 and 20. This is a tight race, boys.
Mm-hmm.
That is a tight race. We're well beyond what we called the predictable part of the season early on, but even then, I would say with those records, that's fucking stellar.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's
like people should be listening to us for betting.
That's, I mean, overall,
But
honestly,
we're not. The odds of Oregon getting minus 21 points. So if you're just betting straight up on them, you're not getting the odds. You got to play the points.
Yeah, still, there's some good parlay.
We're not
picks in
doing
there
points.
Too,
Yeah.
There's definitely, it's just to pick the games without points straight up.
What did you do to my computer while I was gone?
Nothing. I just tried to pull up Google and
Because it ain't loading shit.
I
man.
told you it was slow.
Yeah, that's something happened while I stepped out of the room. What'd you do?
Uh-oh.
Nothing.
All right.
Probably.
It's a work issue. Hey, did I guys tell you, while you're dealing with that, did I tell you about how I had the guy call at the school about Sadie's lunches?
No.
Oh, my God. Oh, my fucking God. So, this is a couple weeks ago, the week before fall break happened. Fall break was last week for the girls. And I'm just like kind of hanging out before I got to go get the girls. Like I got done training, was doing some stuff around the house, and I get a call from the school, and I'm thinking it's one of the girls, and I answer it, and it's one of Sadie's teachers. And he told me that she got pulled out of a class because she was eating in class, and the teacher told her not to eat, and she kept eating, so she got pulled out of class, and she got put into the reset room. Okay. Now she is
What is a reset room?
She is no stranger to the reset room this year. The reset room is the new thing, where it's the new sit down and think about your actions, basically. It's the fucking, instead of giving kids detention or instead of telling a kid to go to the office, now they go to the reset room where they have to reflect on the decisions that they've made that put them in the reset room.
Okay.
Yeah. Fucking retarded.
I think we need one of those at my office.
Anyways,
I'm going to put one of those in my house and just send myself there all the time.
Yeah. You or somebody else.
I call that my garage. That's
Yeah.
right. It's my reset room.
Exactly.
All right. So college
I
football.
didn't even tell my story, but that's okay because we're up.
I thought you told.
No. That was like getting into the story.
Oh, okay. So go on.
Yeah,
Don't
why
worry
you got to
about
cut
it.
them
No,
off?
college
Oh,
football.
sorry, my
Let's go to
bad.
college football.
Oh, you're
This
the
is-
king of cutting people
is
off. What are you
more
talking
important.
about?
Anyways, I'll just shorten it up. So he calls me, and she got into trouble for eating in the classroom and not the lunch, but then he started questioning why she wasn't eating her lunch, and she told him that it was because she wanted to play with her friends and not eat her lunch. Except on the phone, as he's telling me this, now he starts conveying to me, we don't want our kids, he said this to me actually, he goes, I see, she has nice shoes and she wears, nice clothes and, she looks well dressed. I just wouldn't want her to not be getting enough food at home. And I was like, huh?
What?
Exactly. I was like, what?
We spend all our money on clothes and we don't feed our kids.
Yeah. So he started implying to me without actually saying it. Basically, he was concerned that I wasn't feeding her enough or giving her enough food at lunch. And so he asked me, would you like it if I brought her into the classroom at lunch and she can eat her lunch in here and we can make sure she gets a full lunch before she goes out and plays?
What the fuck?
And I told the guy, I said, look, I don't know you, but I'm starting to think that you think I don't feed my kid. And he was like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. And I said, no, just let me say something. I said, I'm a chef. First of all, I'm a chef. Second of all, these kids didn't even eat fucking jarred baby food. I said, I've been making their food for them since they were babies. They've had their own food since they were kids.
Yeah.
I make my daughter a lunch every day. If she doesn't eat it, that's her choice. That's not something that she's getting a lack of.
Right.
And essentially that's where I left it at. And he said, well, I didn't want you to think that I was coming across that way. And I said, well, how else was I supposed to take that?
Right.
You're just telling me that your concern wasn't that she was eating outside of lunch, but your concern was that she wasn't getting food to eat.
Yeah.
And he proceeded to kind of apologize.
Are they skinny girls?
She is, but again, this is her. She gets a
They're
lunch
just
every
used to
day.
fat kids doing nothing.
Right, exactly. And
That's
she
all
gets
it
a
is.
lunch made every day,
Well, yeah, and how old is Sadie now?
13.
13. I mean, what do you expect? It's a 13-year-old.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how is that on, like...
Most kids are still skinny at that age because most
Well, they should be.
They should be. They as long as they're physically active and out doing things, they should be. And I know your children, and I know that they are.
Yeah.
So there's that. Number
They're
one.
both
I know
on the
all
volleyball
sports.
team at the
Yeah,
school.
I know
they
the sports that they
school
participate
sports.
in.
They
They
play
play
outside of
basketball, they
school
play
sports.
soccer.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, no.
I train jujitsu fucking like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I help coach jujitsu.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not,
And she's at the
depriving
age-
my kids of food.
She's also at the age where the rebellion begins.
Yeah.
So the rebellion is, no, I don't want to sit here and eat my lunch. I want to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
And now is my opportunity to do that before you stick me back in a classroom where I can't talk to
You
anybody.
should have said, I give her as least nutritious food as possible so that she can throw it up, because how else is she going to be a supermodel?
At lunch,
Exactly.
when I was
You know,
that
just
age,
say something just dumbass.
at lunchtime when I was that age, I powered through whatever I had to eat as quick as I could because the rest of the lunch hour was recess. All
Yeah.
I wanted to do was
Just
get
boom
out of the
and get
building
out the
and
door,
get
yeah.
outside and have fun.
And so she's fallen into these habits where she'll eat in class and she'll just not eat at lunch so she can go play. Now, part of that, of course, some of the teachers are like, hey, don't eat in class. Like, that's distracting. I get that, okay? But at the same time, I told her, I was like, dude, just power through it. Eat your lunch quickly, or just make sure you're not getting in trouble. If the teacher says don't eat in there,
don't eat in there.
don't take another fucking bite right in front of the teacher. And that's
Yeah.
what got her in the whole situation.
Okay, so she
You
was
know what I
being
mean?
a little, yeah.
But it just went from like her doing that little defiance to this guy talking to me like I don't feed my fucking kids.
Right.
Well, here's the other thing. Eat when
Not
you're
cool.
hungry, not on a set schedule.
Right.
That's what's way healthier for you.
And that's how she goes, man. She eats when she wants food, and the rest
Yeah.
of the time she's fuck you. This is Sadie's world. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's my story. So now I got to finish it.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, quick review of the week in college football. I think the big one that, like Kelly already said, most of us didn't see coming was Oregon losing to Washington, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that was...
I mean, it's an upset, but not an upset. I think, like, if you look at it,
And Arizona.
I honestly, I was surprised. I didn't think Washington was that good. I thought Washington. I knew Michael Penix Jr. is good. They've got wide receivers though.
And they're now, what, number 5 now?
Yeah,
Or
they,
6? 5 or 6?
5.
Yeah.
I think they overtook OU, dropped to 6 with a bye week. But
Yeah, and then as Kelly said, Arizona beating up Washington State. That was even more surprising, I think. Just
That one-
how much they beat them up by. More
I
than
think
anything.
we said that was a close spread going into that game last week too.
Yeah.
Which was one of the games where kind of like I don't know,
Could go
you know?
either way, but I didn't think 44-6.
Nope, hell no, absolutely not.
And then the one that killed me, USC.
Yeah.
You know,
And they
that-
always do. It's USC versus Notre Dame. I'm like, I hate both teams.
Well,
I hate betting on both teams.
I almost feel like within going recent history and traditionally Notre Dame chokes in that game for some reason. You know what I mean? That's how it seemed.
Whoever I bet on loses.
that's
That's
the
just
story,
how it is.
right?
Every year.
This and I don't really like picking Notre Dame, but I did pick them for this game. I just watching USC and like we talked about the way their defense had been against not as good of teams, it just kind of screamed to me like this game was going to be the game it would break. You know what I mean?
Well, and then Mizzou came through for
Definitely
me. Like
wasn't
they did.
riding Caleb Williams' dick this week, man.
No. Mizzou came through for me again and got me one that got over on
Dude,
both
Missouri,
of you guys.
they're quietly having a very good season. you
Yeah,
know?
so Chris and I both had 14 wins, and he got it on the tiebreak again this week.
Fucking gin.
The total score was 27. He had a 42, and I had a 46. So
Yeah, boy.
yeah. Kelly, if you got to get in there on them games, then your tiebreaker score there would have won it. You had the 35.
I know, but I was down 2 games.
I know. That's why I'm saying got to get a couple more right.
Louisville
Get in the fight.
showed up in the top 25 just to get embarrassed by Pitt. That was
Yeah. So Oklahoma State beating Kansas. Also didn't see. I thought Kansas would handle business, but a 1-score game. So
my theory going into that, Kansas, they had the 1 loss going into it. They were ranked before that 1 loss. I just kind of thought maybe the bubble got bursted a little bit, you know what I mean? And maybe they're starting to come back down to earth a little. On top of that, Oklahoma State started the season struggling, trying to figure out what they want to do with their quarterbacks.
Yeah,
the last couple of games, they've kind of been putting together. I think now they're 4-2 on the year, and I'm not saying they're like a great team, but they've been playing consistent, and that was a home game for them. So that was the basis of me picking Oklahoma State.
yeah. So should we look at?
I'll tell you what, fucking Colorado fucked me. Colorado fucked me this weekend. That's for sure.
Who'd they lose to again?
Stanford.
Stanford in double
So
overtime.
The Cardinal.
How do you go from a 29-0 halftime
Yeah.
lead to losing in double overtime?
I had a $50 two-leg parlay with Colorado and Fresno State. Fresno State got the job done. It's 29-0 at halftime Colorado, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to go and start playing some video games. And I fucking come back like 4 hours later, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I didn't realize it. I didn't know it until the next day. I saw it I turned that off. I moved on with my life.
Yep.
And the next day I'm like, whoa, how the
Yeah.
hell did that happen?
Fucking Colorado.
What is it, 46-43 or 49-46? Something like that was the final.
Yeah, in double overtime.
Yeah, in double
46-43 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Wild.
get the fuck out of here,
So
Colorado.
can we stop with the Colorado hype train, please? What's
Dude.
frustrating is they're getting a primetime game yet again this week on TV, and they're not fucking ranked, and they're not playing a ranked team, whereas a ranked team like Washington, who's at 5, their game will not be on in prime. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Give that slot to the fucking number 5 team.
Sexy sells, baby.
That's
I
right.
know.
Fucking 24 karat gold out there.
It's just
You know what I
frustrating.
mean?
It's just
Dude,
frustrating.
so I don't watch Saturday Night Live at all anymore, but this last
Nor
weekend,
do I, actually.
they had a good...
Well, wasn't this their first week back? From
Yeah,
the
the
writer's
new
strike?
season
Yeah.
or the new, from the strike. This week they did have I saw a skit on the Weekend Update, and it was Deion Sanders, quote unquote. You know? what
Oh,
mean?
I did see
Yeah,
that one. I did.
That
I
shit
did.
was
see that.
funny.
It was pretty
fucking,
funny. It was what's his name?
Not Keenan, Kel. Is it Kel or Keenan or?
No, it's Keenan.
It is Keenan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right, yeah, Keenan.
Yeah, he's playing Deion Sanders.
Yeah, and he kept being like, Colin, look at me. Oh, dude, it was.
It
good.
was- yeah,
It was
we'll have to
hilarious.
watch that,
It
yeah.
was
It's
fucking
pretty funny.
hilarious. Yeah.
All right, so let's quick go through the games that are happening this week. The ones that we think are kind of worth noting. Let's start out with Penn State and Ohio State. That's a kind of a rivalry game, right? I mean,
Huge game.
Conference game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's two schools that don't like each other.
3
They're
versus
both-
7.
Yeah, they're both 6-0.
Ohio State's favored.
By 4 points.
I'm taking Penn State.
I
in that
think I
game.
would take Penn State
I'm
in that
taking
game
Penn
too.
State.
I think I
have
took
faith in-
Ohio.
I have faith in Penn State in that game for some reason this year. They've been looking really good, and I'm not saying Ohio State isn't, but I think the momentum. I think they get them.
Another ranked versus ranked, Tennessee, Alabama, 11-17.
I got Alabama in that one.
Alabama.
It pains
I
me
would
to
too.
say that. I like Tennessee, but nope. I think they're figuring it out. However, they're still having some quarterback issues in Alabama this year.
Yep. Then
Not consistent.
the other couple quick ranked games that are happening is you've got Duke taking on Florida State.
Florida State, in my opinion,
By a
that'll be a
lot.
good game.
They-
But I think Florida State definitely covers the spread in that one.
Which is 14 points on the one we're looking at, and then Utah USC.
Man.
Coming off the week USC had, That actually makes that a tougher pick.
I said before the season that I thought Utah was the best team in the pack, and they had the loss to Oregon State, but that was a tough game on the road. I honestly, before I pick this game for this, I have to see what Utah's quarterback situation is going into the game. Just off the top of my head, though, I'm going to have to ride Utah. I think they have enough consistency to still give
SC's
USC.
just been wobbly.
Yeah.
They've been up and down. I mean, they let Arizona
Offense is
State
good.
hang in. They let
Offense is
Arizona
good,
hang
but the
in.
defense is trying.
Yep.
I'll tell you right now, I took USC, so Utah is the play.
Is the pick.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the
for
pick.
sure. Yeah, no. Because they're going to let me down.
If you're
Yeah.
a betting man.
Hey,
Yeah.
and our Sun Devils made this list for once, not for a good reason. Just so happens they're playing the number 5 team in the
old
country.
UW playing them
Washington.
West Coast dogs, huh?
Yeah, playing Washington. So
The Huskies. I think that's
Yep.
going to be a Washington win.
and then then
So go back up. There was one game to me that I thought was kind of interesting. Which game was it? It was the Auburn and
Mississippi.
Mississippi game. Going into Auburn, Mississippi's favored. Mississippi's
Less than a touchdown.
good. Auburn's struggling this year, but again, that's one of those games
never know when Auburn's
you
going
never
to stand
know.
up.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
never know
I'm
with
here.
Auburn, and it's at Auburn.
Yeah.
And we're starting to get later into the season.
Yep.
That might be one to put on the radar. I'm still going to take Mississippi in it, I think, but 4.5 point spread, with a 3-3 team versus a number 13 team in this, or number 13 rank in the top 25. So
So I got a story for you. This was back when I was betting college football a lot.
mm-hmm.
It was Auburn versus Alabama. It was the Iron
the
Bowl.
field goal game, the field goal return game.
No, I don't know. So this was when Cam Newton's last year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're going a little ways back here.
oh yeah. So I don't remember exactly, but I picked Auburn, and every touchdown that Alabama scored, I was still betting on Auburn the whole way. They got down 27-0, and I think they won 28-27.
Mm-hmm.
And I was betting it the whole way, and I fucking made a killing off that game.
That was the national championship year for Auburn, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because he only played the 1 year there. Cam.
It was,
Newton.
and it was
Yeah.
like a close point spread. I think it was Auburn
Yeah.
plus
They
one or
were
two.
they were the underdogs going into it, and
everybody's an underdog going against Alabama.
yeah, especially back then. That was
Right.
like that was hot Alabama.
Yeah.
Like I was just taking the points all the way. And I think at one point I had the money line too, with Auburn to start, and then I was betting the points because I was getting points. Man, I made a killing off that game.
I
So
love betting on college football.
so you want to talk betting this weekend? Just real quick. I mean,
Did you hear? Oh, no. Go ahead.
well, maybe I should save this. We'll segue into this.
Speaking of betting,
Yeah,
I
that's
was going to say,
NFL.
there was a guy that did this is NFL. but
let's
we're
get into
talking,
NFL.
We're talking
Yeah.
betting.
Yeah.
Into college football anyways, right?
Yeah, we're
Pretty
done.
much.
We're
Yeah.
done there. Let's get into NFL.
College football's done.
Wow, wow,
Maybe we should do another station identification. Or,
Somebody's going to have to go on a beer run.
beer runs. Ugh. Excellent.
Why do I get the feeling I'm somebody?
this is the last one I need, but
Not the last one you're gonna drink.
well, we're getting down to the red zone here, so to speak.
Oh, we didn't unison that.
Oh, my fault. We'll just have to dub in another one of our station identifications into that shit.
Where's he going?
When the mountains are blue, it's time for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your favorite pod show, the Motherfucking Dick Show. Sponsored by no one.
All right, I made it back from the beer run. We can start talking NFL now.
NFL.
Do we need to? Because it was such a boring fucking weekend.
Yeah, this was wasn't a lot of excitement or flash this weekend.
I can't tell if it was a defensive weekend or just bad play weekend. Like all the games were pretty low scoring. There was, look at closest game. Cleveland over San Francisco, 2 points.
All right, well, we're there.
And then 3 points, Dallas Chargers game, 3 points, Cincy Seattle game, 4 points, Las Vegas New England, 5 points Buffalo. You had a couple blowouts. Miami over Carolina, that was to be expected. But it's just, and no upsets. There was like 4 upsets.
I wouldn't say no upsets, but
you look at the fantasy points, like the
Cleveland game was a big upset, it was close.
So on that game, on that note, a buddy of mine here in the neighborhood, he's a big Niners fan. He and I bet on that game, and I bet on the Niners. I mean, I thought the Niners were going to win, but I took the under, he took the over at 9.5 is what we agreed on. He thought they'd win by 10 or more. When Cleveland beat them, I got a text message from Bank of America that said, Edgar has sent you $10 via Zelle for, and in quotes, fuck the Browns.
Perfect.
Oh, man, poor guy. Love him to death, though.
But you look at the fantasy points, 25 was the number one for Dak.
Mm-hmm.
Mostritz, 34. Amon St. Brown, 30. And then it was just nothingness. Like 19, 20 points was the weekend.
Vikings,
there was no fantasy points
Vikings
scored.
put up 21 points as a defense. That's probably the biggest standout stat there. To your point, yeah, I mean, all around this week, there just wasn't a lot of excitement, right?
Travis Swiftsy got 21 points. Swiftsy?
Yep.
Swiftsy.
Swiftsy.
How many teams stopped playing in the second half?
Arizona,
Philadelphia, San Francisco, Atlanta, Seattle, New Orleans.
Hey, don't forget my Giants.
The fact that we're now down to...
Well,
hey.
It was close enough.
Can I throw out stat time really quickly though?
Yeah.
Just to tell you, I think the Giants are the worst team in the NFL.
Their helmets looked good.
No, but they're the worst team in the NFL this year. And let me just throw you just a couple of stats to prove my point.
All right.
Okay.
We have 1 touchdown in the first half this year, and it's not an offensive touchdown. It's a defensive touchdown. Okay? We haven't scored a touchdown in the last 3 games that was on offense. All we have are defensive touchdowns, and that's 1. We haven't scored an offensive touchdown since we played San Francisco, which was 3 games ago.
And then before that was Arizona, where they won.
Where we came back in the second half and miraculously figured that shit out.
Yeah.
And this just in, Daniel Jones just got sacked again while he's getting treatment
by his
from
wife.
Getting fucking sacked.
He got sacked by his wife.
Man, he's going to get sacked in my life. He's been sacked in my life. Fuck the Giants this year, man. This is fucking horrible.
I didn't look that stat up. How many sacks were against them this week?
You know what? They only actually, surprisingly, Tyrod.
Oh, yeah.
Our best we've
Jones
looked on
play,
offense. Right? Tyrod driving us downfield at the end of the game this last week. The best we looked all game was in a 2-minute offense. Daniel Jones didn't play.
Fuck, you did. That 2-minute offense fucking didn't look like a goddamn deer in the headlights at halftime. You running the ball on the option?
Hey,
at the goal line?
Listen.
Why are you running the ball?
Listen.
Brian Dable's like, what the fuck are they doing?
No, I'm just saying, at the end of the game, the best our offense looked all game, which was horrible, was on the 2-minute drill at the end of the game. That's all I'm saying.
I know what side you're going to take on this. That should have been a fucking second pass interference penalty, too, because that jersey was held as he was jumping. His arm was pinned down. They should have had another shot at that.
I don't even care about any of that.
My point. my point.
I'm glad you're actually more passionate about my Giants than I am right now. That's how much.
No, I'm passionate. I'm passionate about games being called the same
Right.
way
Yeah,
every
no, I
time,
hear you,
and
I
that
hear you.
should have
I
been
agree.
a pass
I
interference.
agree.
But no, they looked like garbage coming to halftime. Like, I get that the play is a run pass option, but as the quarterback, you have to just know run's not it's not an option.
Yeah,
yes,
no,
this
I agree.
yes, this formation is an RPO setup, but you have to throw the ball.
You have to get
You
rid of the
cannot.
ball.
You cannot.
Dayball was telling him in the ear, like, what the fuck? You got to get rid of the ball. And I agree with that. I just, the most perplexing thing for me, speaking on this, and we'll get done with this because we don't need to go on about this shit. Most perplexing thing is Saquon is a franchise tag running back. He's going to be gone next year. We put all that money into Daniel Jones, who was unproven and hasn't looked good this year. But part of that is we have nothing on an offensive line. We look horrible. And our two best players are our running back and our quarterback with a shit show for an offensive line.
Yeah.
Which is not going to add up, especially when our head coach is an offensive head coach.
I don't think you can say it's all Daniel Jones when he's getting sacked 11 times in one game.
No, and I agree, but I mean, it's just frustration.
Yeah.
You know? Anyways,
All
move
right.
on.
Well,
Carry
let's-
on.
All right,
let's-
so let me just, I made some notes here.
Let's
so
do it.
We start off with a Thursday night game. Kansas City went up 16-0 at the end of the third. Their total yards was 389 for Kansas City. Denver had 197. Russell Wilson really lost that game. He didn't do nothing. Baltimore, Tennessee. Baltimore led 18-3 at the half. Tannehill, 8 for 16 for 76 yards in the game. And Malik Willis came in the fourth. But welcome back to Derrick Henry, who cracked the top 5 in the fantasy points. I don't have his stats, but I think he had a pretty good game. Probably his first one. Washington, Atlanta. Total yards. Washington, 193 yards. Atlanta, 402, and they lost because Desmond Ridder threw 3 interceptions. Atlanta's last three possessions, 2 interceptions and a turnover on downs. Mm-hmm. So Atlanta stopped playing. Minnesota, Chicago. Fields got injured. There goes Chicago's chances.
Man, Justin Fields, man.
Another boring game.
Yep.
Minnesota, total yards, 220. Chicago, 275. Snorefest. Seattle, Cincinnati. Seattle had 381 total yards versus Cincinnati's 214. Like, Seattle, their fourth quarter was an interception, 2 turnover on downs, and 1 punt. Again, like, are their teams just giving up? Like, it's ridiculous.
Inconsistency, especially at this point of the season. You know, looking at fourth quarter games to have that much going on with nothing going on. You know what I mean?
And I know I'm going fast here. Just pipe in if you got a comment on any of these games.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Cleveland beaten San Francisco by 2 points. Purdy, 12 for 27 for 125 yards.
I think the biggest story out of that is what's going on with McCaffrey and Debo, but Debo seemed to be okay.
Yeah, he came back, right?
San Francisco missed a field goal to win it with 9 seconds left in the game.
Pushed it right.
And that was also the second missed field goal on the game for them. They missed one earlier.
Yep. Yeah, so we're now down to no undefeated teams left because
that's what I was
them and
actually going to
Philly
say.
both
Congratulations to the Miami Dolphins. Not this year's Miami Dolphins, right? But
the streak continues.
The streak continues.
Yeah.
You know?
And we have one winless team still left.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey man, Thielen's looking good though back in Carolina. You just went
went
dark.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so Houston beats New Orleans. New Orleans, their third, 3-4 fourth quarter possessions, missed field goal, turnover and downs, and an interception to lose the game, or tie or whatever. Stroud less than 200 yards. Derek Carr had a solid game, 353, 1 touchdown, but he had an interception.
Yep.
So I don't know what was with them. It was a 20-13 game, so it was kind of ridiculous. Jacksonville, I think they did what they needed to do this week. Jacksonville led 21-6 at the half, but their total yards were 233.
Didn't Trevor Lawrence get hurt in that game?
No.
Oh, I thought he did.
Indy had 354 yards. Jacksonville had 17 points off of turnovers.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot. ATN had a solid game, 56 yards and 2 touchdowns, but no rushing by Indianapolis in this game. Jonathan Taylor's back, but what's happening? Indy had 1 fumble, 3 interceptions, 2 turnover on downs, and 3 punts. If you're giving up 17 points on turnovers, you're not going to win any games.
And again, this brings it back to who is Anthony Richardson?
And he's injured. He's
out.
done for the season now.
Yep, they're saying he's done for the year, and they were playing pretty well at the beginning. Now what are they going to do, though,
Right.
Jonathan Taylor's got to step it up, but that's going to be a tough task for him as well.
Yep. So the next game, Carolina-Miami. Carolina. Hey, Carolina. They led 14-0 to start the game and lost 42-21.
I request that Hey Carolina gets into the intro at some point for sure.
Okay.
Hey Carolina.
So you go up 14-0 on Miami and you get 7 points after that. 42 points to 7. You're not going to win any fucking games. Carolina had 4 turnover on downs and 1 missed field goal. But here, newsflash, we're 6 games into the season, and Tua does not have a concussion.
Yeah, that was actually just going to say that too.
And he had a solid game, 262, 3 touchdowns. The monster, Mostert, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns on 17 carries. And Tyreek Hill had an amazing game again, 163, 1 touchdown, 163 yards on 6 receptions.
Yeah.
That's some good yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
they got to have the probably the number 1 offense.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
I mean, they got speed everywhere. If
I'm Kansas City, do I regret giving up Tyreek Hill right now?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, one
doubt.
thing that Kansas City has been able to do, though, is they make up what they lack in that speed with the fact that you have Pat Mahomes. You know what I mean? But
you throw Tyreek back into that mix, and they're even more dangerous.
Well, and when you really look at it,
than they currently are.
The recipe for
they
the
won
Dolphins,
the Super Bowl without him last year, though, right?
Right.
But the recipe for the Dolphins, throwing out all that speed, that's essentially what the Chiefs started doing a few
taking
years
the top
back.
off of defenses.
Just having so much speed with Tyreek and with Pacheco, and at the time, Pacheco wasn't big, but a lot of these other guys, they had speed, and they were able to get it done. And now you're seeing Miami take that.
It opens
and actually,
up the
Miami's
run game.
turned it up a little bit even. Miami has
it opens up the run game
track speed.
And it opens up the quarterback being able to move the ball himself because you're taking the top off. You're moving the defense way back down the field.
Keep saying it, but this is all dependent on if fucking Tua does not get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Who's their backup quarterback?
I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, I don't know offhand.
Don't know. Next game, Las Vegas and New England.
Hey, New England almost tried to come back.
The only note I put here was Jimmy G pulled ?
Yeah, he seems to be out. They put him in an ambulance. He got put in an ambulance.
Did he?
Did he get injured?
I think so, yeah. I thought he got hurt.
I didn't see that one.
I don't know. Detroit over Tampa Bay. Again, no rushing. Rushing disappeared this week. Detroit, 40 yards. Tampa Bay, 46. I don't get it. Goff had a good day. 30 for 44, 353, 2 touchdowns.
So just to update, Jimmy G he got hit just before the halftime, and they said it was a back issue. However, Josh McDaniels said on Monday that he dodged a big bullet. So I think he's maybe questionable.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it.
So the next game, Philly lost to the Jets. Who saw that one?
Nobody.
Absolutely nobody.
Not even the Jets.
Here is Philadelphia's fourth
Good point.
Well, I mean, we're being honest.
fourth quarter.
Not Zach Wilson. He didn't see it
Interception, missed field goal,
Or his mom.
interception, turnover on downs. That was their fourth quarter possessions.
Eesh.
coming. Yeah. Rough.
Ain't
I
gonna
mean,
win many
they
games like
they
that,
stopped
Cotton.
playing.
Yeah.
You're not. Who said the Jets had a good defense?
I don't remember anybody saying that.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's the biggest upset of the week right there.
Yeah.
Well,
Buffalo and the Giants. We already talked about that. I didn't really make any notes. I thought you would.
no, like I said, man, fucking the Giants suck. Buffalo is a pretty good team, but the Giants fucking suck. There's
The
nothing-
Giants did have a nice helmet. I wasn't kidding
Yeah,
when I said
no.
that. It looked like a nice throwback, the darker, more
But
dark blue.
why was the score only 14-9 when Buffalo was a 15-point favorite? I missed the game, so that's why.
Buffalo also had a player taken off the field in an ambulance for a second season in a row.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So that happened. The
I think
Giants,
that kind of took some air out of that game.
Well, plus you got Brian Daboll. He came from the Buffalo coaching staff
The
before he
tree,
took the
yeah.
job. You know, so he probably has a little bit of inside for the nuances and kind of some of that stuff. It's a New York versus New York game.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of those little factors, but overall, the Giants just did enough to make sure that they stayed in it to lose. You know, they didn't stay in it to win. They didn't try to win. They didn't have a chance to win because our fucking offense sucks balls.
Yeah.
So, and that's all I got to say about that.
And then we finished with our Cardinals.
That was a tough one.
When you
Yeah,
give up
was it, though?
20 unanswered points in the fourth quarter,
When you don't play second halves of football games, this is going to happen to you a lot, and that's what they're doing. They're playing first halves. They're not playing second halves.
so who's our quarterback?
The alopecia antelope.
Right.
Yeah.
21 for 41, 235, one interception, and one lost fumble.
Snap back to reality. Whoops, there goes gravity.
This
Whoops,
guy
there
maybe
goes
grew some
antelope.
eyebrows. Maybe we'd fucking win.
Easy.
Our fourth quarter, an interception, a fumble, a turnover on downs. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
He's the fucking anti.
Welcome back, Cooper Kupp, 148 yards.
Yep, he's back.
Kyrene Williams, 158 yards. All in the second half.
Yep. That's what I said. They don't play the second half of games. You can't win if you're not playing the second half. That's been their MO all season long.
Rams team has some potency there if they
Yeah.
can just figure it out. But Aaron Donald still too, man. That guy wreaks havoc everywhere.
And then we had Dallas beating the Chargers last night.
Yep.
That was kind of a snooze fest too, to be honest.
I mean,
wasn't,
it was
wasn't
Yeah.
an exciting
yeah,
game.
it wasn't exciting, but
I
they're
mean,
in
the
the fourth
Chargers had a
quarter at
chance.
the end. Yeah,
Chance, and then they didn't.
they didn't look good on that last possession. That's for sure. When you really got to get urgent, they didn't get urgent.
I think the best thing about that game was watching that chick in the stand lose her mind.
Oh yeah, she was excited, and then all of a sudden she was.
We're watching the game, and
Oh yes,
and
I
Dustin's
forgot
like,
about it.
Look at this bitch.
She is going fucking nuts. And
Barbara's
we had
like,
to
"Let me see,
rewind.
let me see,
We had to
let me see."
rewind for Barbara.
Yeah, that was funny. All right, well,
Yeah. So wrap up real quick. Football. We're on a time crunch here today. So I won the week with 11. Chris had 10. Kelly had 9. And for
Nine
the
times.
9 for the season standings, that puts me at 63-30. Kelly at 55-38, and Chris 55-38 as well. So anyway, all right.
I got next week's schedule. There's an interesting game. Detroit and Baltimore. Washington against the Giants. Just for you. Arizona, Seattle. Kansas City versus the Chargers. Oh, here's the big one. The Sunday night game. Philly and Miami.
Yeah. Yep. That'll.
I
be a
think
good
that's the game of the week.
game. That'll be a good game.
that will be a good game.
6 teams on by, so
I think I might take Miami in that one, but we've got to wrap it up. We got to go.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna get on to the next segment.
all right.